So I use AI a lot. I pretty much use ChatGPT with like my daily workflow. However, with Deepseek recently emerging, I've been playing around with it and have noticed that it's pretty different than ChatGPT in good ways and bad ways. So I'm going to put it to the test in this video. We're going to ask some questions, the same questions to ChatGPT, Deepseek, and Gemini, and see which platform gives you the best responses. So the first question I'm going to ask it is, if Pinocchio says my nose will grow, what happens? So it should be an easy question for AI, but it's interesting because all of them have different responses. This is Deepseek, and it says step 1, understanding the basics. Who is Pinocchio? And it like breaks it down from the beginning. What is the Pinocchio paradox? Step 2, breaking down the statement. Step 3, exploring logical paradoxes. The liar paradox example. If true, then statement is false. If false, then statement is true. Step 4, considering possible resolutions. And then it goes even more in depth. Option 3, infinite loop. Step 5, evaluating each option, neither true nor false. And it does this for 9 steps. So step 6, drawing parallels to known paradoxes, philosophy, potential real world application. Finally, it has the conclusion here. After exploring various angles, it's clear that Pinocchio's statement, my nose will grow, creates a paradox that challenges traditional logic. So, I mean, overall, it definitely had a good answer if you were looking for an answer like this. And then I responded, I am confused by this. Can you explain it like a child? So I'll show you the answer to that. First, I'm going to show you what the 2 other AI said. So now we're at Gemini and I asked it the same question, copy and pasted it. The answer is a lot simpler. So you can see this is a bit of a mind game. Acknowledges that, which I think is cool. And then it goes over the literal, the implied, and then what's going to happen. I asked the same thing to ChatGPT, copy and paste it as the other ones, and it says, the classic Pinocchio paradox. If Pinocchio says this, it creates a logical contradiction because of how his magic nose works. And then it just answers the question, few bullet points. I like this answer the best because it acknowledges it. It does humanize the AI a little bit, but it is what it is. This is also a temporary chat, so it's not using any of my existing like data with it. And this is the pro version of ChatGPT. Now going back to Deepseek, I said, I am confused by this. Can you explain it like I am a child? Because the last one was kind of long. You know, maybe I can't read all that. Maybe I am a child. Of course, let me explain it in a simpler way, like you're a child. And then it goes through, if he is telling the truth, then his nose grows. If he is lying, and then it kind of acknowledges that it's a paradox again, and it's a tricky question. It doesn't have a clear answer. So it did a good job on this second answer. I think I would prefer this answer than the first answer, but the first answer is cool to see how technical it gets on the first question like that. And then I also like how it does this, where it relates it to like a real question that isn't like a trick question. So it says, I am lying right now. Are you telling the truth or are you lying? It's a tricky question. So I think that was a good analogy. I asked the same thing to Gemini, obviously, copy and paste it. Imagine Pinocchio is playing a game where his nose grows whenever he tells a lie. So it kind of breaks it down to the foundation and explains what Pinocchio is. And then it explains the riddle a little bit. Since his nose grows whenever he tells a lie, even pretending to tell a lie might trick his magic and make his nose grow. Kind of just acknowledges that it's a trick question. I think it's a good answer. Nothing too crazy with that. I think ChatGPT had a pretty good answer to this, and it kind of humanizes ChatGPT again, because this almost feels like it's an adult telling like a child this, because look at the wording. That means that whatever he said is true, but wait, his nose only grows when he's lying. So how can the nose grow when he's telling the truth? That doesn't make sense. If his nose doesn't grow, that means he was lying. If he was lying, then his nose should grow, except it didn't. That doesn't make sense either. See, his statements make the magic get all confusing, blah, blah, blah. It acknowledges it's a riddle. So this one is like a human answer, where the other ones felt a little bit more technical. It felt like a Google search or AI was answering the question. And the last question I wanted to ask is, what would happen if Pinocchio said this in a courtroom? So hopefully the idea of this question is it can go back to the first question and skip over the second question and still being able to continue the conversation. And it did do that. So Deepfake had a good explanation what would happen in a courtroom. And then it goes over what the judge and the jury would do. The courtroom might get stuck, the judge, Pinocchio's nose grows, final answer, and all that stuff. So it gets technical. I think the analysis is without additional filters. Deepseek is pretty technical initially, like it's a little bit more analytical, which is good if you're looking for that. Now I asked the same thing on Gemini, and you could see it just gives bullet points of everybody's perspective and what would happen. And then finally it says, ultimately it would depend on the specific circumstances of the case and how the judge and lawyer interpret Pinocchio's statement. So This is a little bit easier to read than Deepseek's, which is a little long and more technical. And this is ChatGPT's answer, and I think it's pretty telling the difference between the AIs with just this answer, because just read this, it's pretty crazy. So it says, oh, now we're putting Pinocchio on a stand. This just got serious. Like, this is like a real person talking. And then it says, if Pinocchio says my nose will grow in front of the judge, the courtroom would probably go bananas. Everyone in the courtroom will be confused. Wait, his nose grows even when he tells a lie? Like, crazy. Like, this is like a real answer. You know, it's not AI. Like, it's not like a technical answer like DeepSeek's or even Gemini's. Like, it's giving like real quotes. It like made up an entire story off of this. If his nose didn't grow, then he lied and his nose should have grown, but it didn't. What's going on here? Said the judge. Pretty interesting to see the difference between these three platforms. Deepseek is a little bit more analytical and like long answers. Gemini is a little bit more straight to the point but analytical. ChatGPT is a little bit more humanized and will give a relatable answer while still, you know, giving you the answer, obviously. So yeah, that was a little test. I hope that was interesting to you. This is just 3 of the AI platforms. There's a lot more. Pretty interesting to see how each one has a different kind of response without filters, where Deepseek is super analytical and long. Gemini is a little bit shorter and analytical, and ChatGPT is like a little bit shorter, can be a little bit more lengthy than Gemini, but is very humanized. So I definitely had fun doing this. I hope this was entertaining to you too, I guess. Let me know your opinion in the comments with which one you prefer. I think I'm still going to be using ChatGPT as my primary AI tool because I feel like it kind of knows me and it can remember previous conversations, which is pretty cool. But yeah, thanks for watching.